All right, greetings, family, greetings. All right, it's Professor Griff and this Black Power Media Reloaded show entitled On the Masses. On the Masses, right here with your brother, Professor Griff, brought to you by Serious Minds RN TV. As we always say, serious minds attract serious minds seriously. So if you're within the sound of my voice, please, right now, while we do the check-in, contact 3 other people and let them know that we are on. And the subject matter today is UNITY. UNITY is the unity. For y'all latecomers to the party, that's my sister, Queen Latifah, laying that out. I think Moni Love was on there. I forgot whoever else. But anyway, the UNITY unity, the unity of Black Africans and Black Americans. All right? The unity of Black Africans and Black Americans. All right. In the meantime, between time, we're going to do the check-in to see who's joining us. In about 30 minutes, I'm going to put the invite in the chat for you to come on and discuss this critical topic. All right, as we dive into this. But a couple of commercials, do the check-in, and then we are on. Up first, tomorrow night, I will be on with my good brother, King Simon. All right, so we're going to be talking about today's consciousness in the conscious community. And I want to add to that, outside of the conscious community, we should say the unconscious community. What happened and how can we change it and heal it? All right, with audience participation and surprise guests sharing their views at KSP TV, King Simon Production TV Media on YouTube. Special guest, your brother, Professor Griff. All right, that's the 29th, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. I will be in the building with King Simon. Then on the flip side of that, coming up, did I tell you all that my born day, Earth Day, birthday is Friday, August 1st? Shout out to all of the Leos. All right. Matter of fact, shout out to all of the Leos that was born on August 1st with the revolutionary spirit. All right. Now, some of y'all Leos born on the 1st are just tame, calm, and co-opted, but that's a whole nother story. Shout out to all of the Leos that are still acting like lions. All right. So this Saturday, though, which is my daughter's birthday, shout out to Kiki Chang, to Kia Khalees Shah. All right. And of course, Warriors in a Garden, Serious Minds, and Devi Tribe Wellness presents the birthing song, The Birth. All right. Lecture and slide presentation by yours truly, Professor Griff, and Mantra and the Yoga of Sound, presented by Soleil. All right, this Saturday in person at the Goddess Temple of Love, 6467 East Strickland Street, Douglasville. And it will be live on Zoom. All right, scan the QR code on your screen or go to, can I put the banner up? Hold on. Go to this site right here, www.devitribewellness.com, or hit Professor Griff up 678-557-2919 to get the link on how to pay, how to attend. All right, this Saturday, that's this Saturday, it will be live streamed this Saturday. And if you're in the surrounding Atlanta area, please show up and be counted. All right, you can go to www.devitribewellness.com. Hit the QR code on the screen or text Professor Griff 678-557-2919. All right. And last but not least, family, my book, The Birth, ebook and audio book, will be out. All right. This week. All right. The ebook and the audio book. If you would like to purchase either one of those particular things, text your brother, Professor Griff, and I will send you the information. 678-557-2919. Y'all know I'm old school. I'm hands-on. I'd rather talk to you, text you, as opposed to waiting for an email. I didn't see the email for a week. You didn't see the email for a week, and that time gets by us. All right, so in the meantime, between time, I'm going to need everybody to jot my phone number down and go ahead and make contact. All right. It is absolutely on my site, publicnme.me. All right. If you want the link, I will send you the link later on in the broadcast. I'll put the link up in the chat. All right. You can purchase the ebook and or the audio book. All right. The hard copy book will be out in the fall. All right. I'm trying to do this because I'm gearing this towards the younger generation who are not doing a lot of reading nowadays. So we're going to get them well acclimated. We're going to bring them back up to speed to making sure they hear the audio book, get the information, have the discussion, cultivate them on the ebook, and then bring them up to actually owning the book, putting it on their shelf so they can pass it down to their children. That is the way we're going to do things. All right. In the meantime, in between time, all right, I'm going to play a little music. We're going to do the check-in. All right. And then we're going to go from there and kind of make this thing happen. Is that cool with everyone? All right. It's absolutely cool with me, fam. Put a little music on. All right. Go to the comment section. And we can get a picture here so we can dive into and see who's checking in with us today. All right. Once again, peace. Thank you for joining us. Today's conversation is going to be unity. UNITY, the unity of Black Americans and Black Africans. All right. Keyword unity. All right. Keep in mind the keyword is unity. All right. My brother, Houston, boy, checking in all the way from Houston. Take it. All right. Southpaw Panther, Southpaw. All right. All the way from the DMV area. All right. We got Fayetteville, North Carolina checking in. Sankofa in the building checking in. Soul Job checking in. Mrs. Moore checking in as always. All right. Edwin Wallace checking in. Anyone that is subscribed and is on my list, you're able to attend upcoming online Zoom free. All right. If you've been supporting the platform via PayPal and or whatever other means, you are coming in free. You get a discount on the ebook and you get a discount on the audio book. If you would like to become a member, just hit your brother, Professor Griff, up, and I will send you the link. 678-557-2919. All right. Be more checking in. Construction Site Media TV. All right. Who's checking in on IG? All right. San Antonio, Texas checking in. All right. Muscle Mouth Bone. What's up, man? You good? All right. Texas definitely checking in. Anyone else? All right. All right. Let's get this conversation started. The conversation is entitled UNITY. That's the unity. All right. That's the energy that we're putting out there today. And that's what we're coming with. All right. Some people may have another agenda. Not sure. But let's kind of dive into this and let's talk, family. All right. I got a few things to play. So I'm going to stop this music right here. I want to play one thing to kind of get this thing started and set in motion. All right. Before we do that, let me say this. I was up late last night. I know I should have taken my behind the bed. I'm sure you'll see some of the bags under my eyes. And I listened to and participated in a couple of the rooms that are happening on TikTok. And why did I ever do that? The level of ignorance, all right, the level of vitriol and violence that's going on in those rooms is ridiculous. Black Americans threaten Africans, Africans threatening Black Americans, and this kind of thing. And I'm telling you, just straight up, you have actually fell for the okie doke. If you're one of those individuals, and I took a screenshot of who some of those individuals are. Mind you, a lot of those individuals will not show their face because what you're actually doing is actually against the law. It's terroristic threats. All right. Okay. In certain states. But I'm saying to you, why would you ever go so far as to talk about slapping the ish out of somebody if you could, but because they have a difference of opinion and they have a different way of kind of getting to the particular goal. All right. Salute, Troy Parker. What's good with you? Gerald, what's happening with you? All right. Gary's Garage, what's happening? All right. I know. You're right. Akuma 0298 off the chain. Twitter is worse. X is worse. The level of violence and ignorance that's going on these platforms, I'm talking about from the 11 o'clock hour on, it is off the meat rack. It's very rare that you can go on TikTok and find a civil conversation where people are not cutting you off, cursing you out, blocking you, and the whole bit because you come with a difference of different perspective or difference of opinion or whatever. If you're not following the thinking and the thought pattern of those individuals that are moderating those panel discussions, oh, it's ridiculous. I've seen one sister from Africa handle very well in a very intellectual, calm kind of way, handle about 6 to 8 black FBAs from North America. Simply because if she's talking calm and presenting facts, I think we should just basically, you should give her that same energy back and come with facts. All right. She asks the same basic questions that Professor Griff have been asking for the last few weeks. All right. A, who is the author of all of this confusion? Is this not divide and conquer? Africa right now is on the rise. You wouldn't think that they would at least send a treasure trove of bots out to start confusing people, having us fight and kill one another. You don't think that they would do that? They've done it in the past. Study what happened with the Black Panther Party. All right? Study what happened with the turbulent 60s, the Black revolutionary organizations that was on the rise in the 1960s, responding to what the United States government was doing. The FBI's murderous targeting of individuals in Black organizations. This is the divide and conquer tactic. And you are falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Right now, you're ready to go out in the streets and go run up on Africans, which I wouldn't advise you to do that. Because if them individuals are coming from lands that have been colonized and taken over and they used to fighting, I don't think you should do that. You might get into a couple of skirmishes in the hood, but yeah, I wouldn't advise you to do that. And surprisingly enough, a lot more Africans stick together than Black Americans. All right. You might want to be mindful and very careful on how you make that move. All right. And then everyone that's Black, quote unquote, FBA, don't feel the same way you feel about Black Africans. So I'm going to play 2 clips, but let me say this. Answer these few questions real quick. When you say these things and this vitriol and this madness is coming out of your mouth, when you start making perfect sense, they want to jack up the feed. Now, if I was on here talking about extra BBLs, and BBLs are on the rise, and now men are getting frontal BBLs and all this other kind of stuff, nothing would be wrong with this feed. You understand what I'm saying? If I was talking about ratchet-ish and that kind of stuff, they wouldn't mess up the feed. The feed would be fine. All right. Okay. Anyway. So let's just kind of rock with it. All right. I'm saying to you, I've heard some Africans and how they refer to Black Americans. I actually heard one African come on one of the talks last night on TikTok, and he made some sense. And I was waiting for one of the FBAs to answer with some sense. He basically said the black people from America that he see on these TikTok kind of things and on X and this kind of thing are mainly from the lower class element of black people in America. Because I don't see them producing or presenting factual information. Now, what I did as a result of that, I didn't take it personal. I got off and I went 2:00 in the morning and did the research. Lo and behold, I found some information that I think is very factual that I think my African brothers need to pay close attention to. Shout out to LaSherica on an ADNC contributor, African Diaspora News Channel. Shout out to Phil. All right. This sister did a marvelous job in laying out some of the facts. And then my further study, I'm going to play some of that clip, but in my further study, there's a brother, Sean X, who laid out exactly what I was thinking in reference to this being a psychological operation. All right. And them targeting the younger generation in America to get them to come against Africa, because now Africa is on the rise. So I laid out some things. Before I play the clip, let me just lay out just one or two of the things that I laid out, and then we'll get to the clip. All right, hold on. That's my man, Sean. Hold on. I need everyone to kind of look this up real quick, fam. Real quick. Top colleges take more blacks, but which ones? Which blacks are they taking? All right. Which blacks are they taking? So if the top colleges, and yet again, this might be another Harvard report. If the top colleges are taking more black people, all right, when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, which black people are they taking? Which blacks are they taking? Are they taking FBA? Or are they trying to fill those numbers with black people that did not struggle like black people struggle in America, like we struggled? All right. Are black people coming in benefiting from what we've struggled for and what we should benefit from? Then my question on top of that is, are you qualified to fill that particular quota? All right. Okay. At the most recent reunion of Harvard University Black alumni, there were lots of please talk about, I don't know what that means. Please talk about the increase in the number of black students at Harvard. But the celebrity mood was broken in one forum when some speakers brought up the thorny issue of exactly who those black students were. While 8% of about 530 of the Harvard's undergrads were black, Lainey Gaynor, a Harvard law professor, and Henry Louis Gates, not Gaynor, I think it is, the chairman of Harvard's African and African American Studies Department, pointed out that the majority of them, perhaps as many as 2/3, were West Indian and African immigrants who their children, or to set lesser intent children of biracial couples. So not the positions, but the quota that's being filled are filled up by people that are non-foundational black Americans. This is the crux of the matter. This is where the confusion is. This is who's instigating it and who's setting off this particular divide and conquer rift between black people in America. All right. Hold on. Hold on. Between black people in America and our brothers and sisters from the islands and from the continent. All right. My bad, everyone on YouTube. I didn't get a chance to show. Hold on. Nope, not that, not that, not that, not that. Hold on. I think this is my document that I was just reading from. Let me see. And it is. All right. Top colleges take more blacks, but which ones? And y'all can find this article. It's top colleges take more blacks, but which ones? Please look that up. June 24th, 2004. All right. Which ones are they taking? They're taking the quote unquote immigrants that are coming, still black, but they're taking the ones that are immigrants coming from the Virgin Islands, West Indies, the Caribbean islands, and Africa. All right. Okay. Now, with that as a backdrop, all right, the rift is not with us on a petty level. This has absolutely nothing with the hair braiding salons and African shops. This has absolutely nothing to do with them. This is your open enemy, once again, doing what they always have done to black people in the black community. Divide and conquer. Now, mind you, be mindful on IG. There's a delay because they're monitoring what I'm saying. All right. Okay. Now, if we as foundational black Americans had our ish together and our infrastructure together, we would be the ones doing what's necessary to be in those positions, whether it's at Harvard or whether it's the black African diaspora as far as education is concerned, jobs are concerned, whatever it is, diversity, where diversity is concerned, we would be the ones stepping up into the plate, onto the plate for that. Now, we have to ask ourselves the question, are we qualified? Some of y'all are saying, yes, we are. And I would agree with you. But those are not the ones that you see on these forums speaking late at night, cursing and threatening Africans. Are you qualified? And then what is wrong with thinking that we should kind of come together and put some things that we know in place for ourselves, as opposed to waiting for the Reagan National Forum to step up to the plate, stating that, all right, they're going to be very diverse, but they're not going to fill these jobs, these positions, and give these salaries and give these grants and loans and business loans and these kind of things to foundational black Americans. They're going to give them to immigrants. This is where the problem is. So until we study this and then we get together behind closed doors and have the discussion and hash this out, we will always blame one another. That is by design. The blaming one another thing is by design, set up by them. All right? And then we need to talk to the brothers from the Caribbean islands, Africa, and other places to ask y'all, do you understand black people's struggle? Foundational black American struggle in America. So when you do fill that position, no one understands we struggled for that. All right? And then we need to talk about your give back. All right? You need to talk about how you're going to work with us. But we're not going to be able to work with our brothers and sisters that are immigrants coming into America, quote unquote, taking our place, benefiting from what we built and struggled for, if we're cursing them out and threatening them. All right? So, yeah, we're going to talk to all of the Kenyans, everyone from Togo, everyone from Ghana, everyone from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Guinea, the Ivory Gold Coast. All right, we're going to go up into Morocco. We're going to go to East Africa, Eritreans, Somalians, Ethiopians. We're going to come on down to the Sudan. Then we're going to go to South Africa. And we're going to talk to everyone in between. Namibia, we're going to go and we're going to talk to everyone to let them know We need to have a conference. All right. Not the bootlicking AU conference where foundational Black Americans have no representation, no one to speak for us. If you're trying to write us in as the sixth district or the 6th region, who is speaking for us in the 6th region? All right. We need foundational Black Americans to know what the AU is. All right. See, I've been saying it a long time ago. We need to understand domestically and internationally what's going on and who's going to represent us. All right. All right. Okay. No, I do not perform music with Public Enemy. This is just an old wrinkled ass shirt I put on this morning because I couldn't find anything else to put on. And this is actually when I got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All right. And then I have another shirt where we got a Grammy and that bit, but that's another subject. So we'll talk about that some other time. Let me play the clip to give you a better understanding of where Professor Griff is coming from. Because I did screenshot and save all the threats, all of the Griff, you're a coon, Griff, you, all the name calling, all the cute little stuff, which I'm built for it. But I saved it all. All right. I know who you are. I got people on my team that can track who you are right on down to your mama's house. All right. So we don't have a problem with that. Some of y'all being slick, creating other Instagram channels. I know who you are too. All right. Some people are old and some people are new. I've been had your names. All right. And within the next couple of days before my born day, before I hit the reset button, because I got to renew my history on Friday. And before I get quiet in my meditative state on my born day, I'm going to speak to you. Oh, you will hear from me before Thursday evening. Trust me, you will. All right. And don't be surprised. I'm going to call your house or I'm going to call your mama's house. Or I'm going to get in contact with your baby mama to contact you. All right. Nowadays, with this technology, it ain't no running and hiding. You like to run your mouth, but your talk, your walk don't match your talk. It really don't. But anyway. All right. Okay. I want to. You still. Anyway, thank you very much. And I want to say something to my wife. Always throwing kicks at me and punches and all this kind of stuff in the bathroom. I'm trying to come down the stairs. I'm in the kitchen throwing little roundhouses and throwing little jabs. I'm going to answer all of that before I turn 65.
You got about 4 days.
Bro, I got about 4 days. It's mushroom coffee? Dang. So this is what I'm going to need before I turn 65? Man, I'm nice with mine. What you want to do? Some Muay Thai? Some Wing Chun? Or just wait, teach him pie, whatever you studied? I'm bringing the pain. And then we go into the range on Thursday. Yeah, son. You see how nice you are with that thing. Anyway. Yo, y'all better ask Double B or somebody, man. How nice I am. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me go get my target. I saved it. Hold on. Matter of fact, I'm going to play the clip while I go get my target. So y'all don't think she think I'm playing on Thursday. I am not. Hold on. I'm going to play the clip. Where's my brother at? Yada, yada, yada. Whoop-de whoop. Hold on. I think he's right here. My brother Eric. Hold on. Talk to me, good bro. Hold on, let me turn him up.
Military person. This is what states, countries, militaries use against other countries when they're doing psychological warfare. It is being waged against Black diaspora. It is being waged against people of the African diaspora, Black Americans, anyone who of African descent. Don't fall for it. Much of what you're arguing with when you're even responding online is AI, they're bots, and they've been crafted specifically to try to generate certain responses and to try to generate certain reactions. Don't respond to it. What we need to figure out is who's doing it. We know who has done it in the past, but we need to go after the people doing it now. We all have an idea of who it is, and we all have an idea of why they're doing it, but we need to come together and go after the root of this warfare against diaspora and against the African people, trying to cause division, trying to cause confusion, and trying to cause fights. It's not a game. It's not a game. It's happening. It's been happening. It's happened to us as Black Americans for a long time. We've been fighting this for a long time in our community in Black America. And now that they see that diaspora is being united and the diaspora is caring about African affairs, and they're coming together and they're awakening when it comes to Africa, and their efforts being put together to try and do things. They are spreading what they did consistently to us as Black Americans. They're trying to spread that throughout the entire diaspora and the entire continent of Africa. Don't fall for it. We're going to figure out who's doing it, and we're going to stop it at the root.
Living a dream.
That's it. In a nutshell. He said it. What else do we need to say? All right. This is a military, this is a retired military officer now known as Sean X, is using his expertise in psychological warfare to help unite African people and people of African descent around the world. In the face of this escalating digital battle, he warns us. Hold on. Let me save that because I want to get to this other piece real quick. I don't want to bore y'all. I want to be able to save that. And then in order to read it later. So y'all can save it also. Okay. Okay. Let me go here. All right. All right. So now, with that said, do you have an idea now of where I'm coming from? They have been doing this, family. This is an old tactic that they use. They did this to the Black Panther Party to cause them to fight and kill one another. All right. This is an old trick. I keep saying in these chat rooms, why don't you, instead of fighting and killing one another, won't you focus in on the person and the people and the agenda that's doing this? I pointed out to them, but they want to block me. They said, "Oh man, you're old, man. This is a new game nowadays." Yada yada yada, whoop whoop, and I'm like, wow. All right, 2-3 times on this program, I'm gonna give you a little bit of wisdom, something for you to kind of grow with, because obviously you're not there yet. Obviously you're not there yet. And to write Professor Griff, a junior elder, off as I'm too old and I'm trying to give you some wisdom so you can save your life. All right, I wrote this. Those who forget the footsteps behind them will find no path laid before them. All right, you disrespect your elders, you're setting yourself up with the children to disrespect you. Because one day you will be my age. Hopefully you won't be in a situation where you got to have this same discussion being regurgitated. This happened before when I was just a young man in the 60s. Now I'm seeing it in the 2000s and it's happening again. I'm like, wow, I studied this. I know what this is. I've seen this before. And ask your mommy and your daddy. They've seen this before with the Black Panther Party. All right. A tree that denies its roots can never expect its branches to thrive. All right. When you dishonor your ancestors, you teach your children to forget you. All right. When you dishonor your ancestors, you have no real moral ground for your children to respect you. They will forget you because you've forgotten the ones before you. All right. The legacy you reject becomes the lesson your children repeat. The legacy you reject becomes the lesson your children repeat without reverence. They're not going to revere you. This softer, beautiful stuff that my wife is guiding us through when we do programs, hold on, like this, when we do programs like mantra and the yoga of sound, when we get together to do these particular things to quiet stuff down so that we can think, plan, and strategize, so we can meditate, pray, and speak to one another in closed sessions, is very necessary. All right. This is the way I balance myself out, because I'm a revolutionary at heart. You understand what I'm saying? But are you? Do you quiet yourself down? Now, when do you ever do that? Or do you just like to run your mouth? All right. So you think we do these things for the community just, I guess, to get a couple of nickels and dimes, or what do you think? Listen, this is work. This is service. All right. When I sit and I toil over stuff like my next book, night and day, thinking about you, not thinking about me, thinking about you. Come on, family. Come on. Come on, family. So let's be real. Let's be honest with one another. Are we going to stop and press the reset button? Are we going to set things in place so that we can reapproach our African brothers and sisters, our Caribbean brothers and sisters, brothers from Latin America, South America, Brazil, and other places? All right. And say, listen, what they told you about who we are over here, they got it wrong. This is who we are. So last night, you know what I did? I looked up. Let me see if I can let y'all see some of the research I did. Hold on for a second. Let me screenshot. That's not that African. Here's one of the things I looked up. All right. I just did something basic. I said, okay, let me see what Africa has contributed. All right, simply because there was somebody last night talking about there's nothing ancient in Africa. All that stuff come from America. Black people in America. Africa ain't did nothing for us. And I was like, wow. So I looked up all the latest inventions coming out of Africa. What are those inventions coming out of Africa? Can we pinpoint them? And have they advanced who we are as a people? All right. So
the top 5 inventions that have been made by Africans. First on the list, the C80 scan machine from South Africa. The C80 scan was invented by South African Alan Cormack and is now utilized extensively in the medical industry worldwide. Second on the list, we have the emergency blood transfusion system from Nigeria. It's often known as the ITSET, was created by a Nigerian medical doctor, Otsu Oviemo Ovaje, after he witnessed years of pregnant women dying from internal bleeding.
South Africa, Nigeria. All right. I'm just talking about, here it is, the CAT scan system, the speed gun, hippo water roller, iron smelting, and metal, dealing with metal technology, other notable inventions. All right, then we could dive deeper, go into AI mode, because you know how they offer that now, which we won't do right now. Hold on. African inventions. Hold up. And then who are those top American companies and the companies around the world that's in Africa? All right, graping Africa for its natural resources. You're not online late at night cursing them out and threatening them. All right, hold on for a second. Let the sister finish, though. Hold on.
The whole Maxwell Chikumbutsu and his microsonic invention, it got me thinking as to how many more groundbreaking inventions are out there that are made by Africans. So I went digging and I came across the top 5 inventions that have been made by Africans, and that is what we are going to be looking into on this particular episode. This is a report that I'm just going to get Doris, but before getting to the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the Next Generation Media channel so you don't get to miss out on any of our subsequent videos. Going in no particular order, we have first on the list, the C80 scan machine from South Africa. The C80 scan was invented by South African Alan Cormack and is now utilized extensively in the medical industry worldwide. It provides
All right, hold on now. Hold on, fam.
the top 5 inventions that have been made by Africans. First on the list, the C80 scan machine from South Africa. The C80 scan was invented by South African Alan Cormack and is now utilized extensively in the medical industry worldwide.
The one that got me was the brother from Africa, Kenya, I believe it was. He invented this app that can turn sign language into voice and voice text. You talking about genius. That same thing that lies in that brother lies in you, the black man and woman in America. It's that same thing. You need to tap into that though. But Africans, all of y'all, listen to what I'm about to say. Something very unique happened to the black man and woman in America. All right. Something that happened to us did not necessarily happen to you. We went through a process that these people put us through that silenced that particular thing, brought us down to the level of beasts, robbed us of that. We're trying to get that back. We don't need you talking about us, insulting us, mocking us, calling us cotton pickers and all these names that you come up for us. All right. The same dog that bit you bit us too. We're trying to find our way back to ourselves. You should be assisting in that. Not coming to America, quote unquote, trying to deal with black people in the way that these people kind of let you view black people in America through a distorted lens. All right. We went through a certain process. We came through that thing. No other people on the planet have been what black people have been through in America. And we still rise and we still here. And then even on top of that, Africans, I'm talking to you, listen to me. Black people in America invented every damn thing that this country used to advance itself. And then this country and other places have robbed you, Africans, for the natural resources and minerals to run their countries, to build their machines, to build their rockets, to sustain their lives, their livelihood. All right? So let's understand that. This is why I keep pushing this unity, this UNITY. This is why I keep pushing the unity of black Africans and black Americans. Because if we came together, it's a wrap. But they're playing this divide and conquer game, which you shouldn't go for. Supreme Understanding wrote this book, Black People Invented Everything. Africans, you need to read this book. Because when you start talking about we don't have no culture and this, that, and the other, you dead ass wrong. And then when I go on your profile, you looking like you could be from Brooklyn somewhere or Miami or LA. Stop. Don't mimic us and take who we are as a people when it's convenient for you. All right. Okay. So black people, black Africans have invented some things that's life-saving and just kind of next level. So has black people here. All right. Someone is at the crux and at the core of this diaspora wars where black people are arguing with one another right now, ready to kill one another. Don't y'all think it's ironic, the strange period of time that this is happening? First, it started with the gender, the music, trying to take hip hop and all this other stuff, and then the gender wars. And I see a lot of y'all playing into that. So everyone's fighting now. And then here we are now. Africa is on the rise. All them precious minerals that these other people need to sustain themselves are there under the feet of our African brothers. And now all of a sudden, there's a beef. Come on, family. Don't go for it. Do not fall for it. Shout out to Philip at the African Diaspora News Channel. Really appreciate it. LaSherica is your name? I don't want to jack it up, sis. She's an ADNC contributor. I don't want to mess your name up. All right. The information that you laid out is next level. And I think Africans need to listen to this. And then black people that's on these little programs at night and all this other stuff that y'all doing, cursing each other out, ready to fight. Yeah, you need to listen to this also. Because I had to sit back and watch it about 3 times and take some notes because I said I knew it. But now this kind of glues it together. So did y'all see this Reagan National Forum? It was long as hell. I think it was 8 hours. Someone went in and pieced it apart and took the very same thing out of what they were saying about black people, Africans, and black people, foundational black Americans. They said the quiet part loud, like real loud. But since people put it in your face, foundational black Americans, I haven't heard anything from you. I want to be able to qualify myself to step up into the place where each one of us can represent who we are as foundational black Americans. I guess Claude Anderson came up with that concept, and then Tariq Nasheed took it, and kind of now it's spread. You understand what I'm saying? We need to get a deeper, more wider, non-emotional, less immature approach to this thing. All right? Somebody has weaponized this thing and got you wanting to kill people that look just like you. Let me tell you something. I think it was Malcolm X that said, he said, you can't tell a Congolese from the person that lives in Manhattan or Brooklyn or New York or Alabama or Atlanta. He said, you look just as much Congolese as a Congolese. All right. And that's a very real, these people don't care. They see that you black. They deal with you in a certain kind of way. I can't say how they deal with you out loud because they might strike the channel. But you know what I'm talking about. Now that Rwanda, the Tutsis and the Hutu are doing research, they're figuring out who's the one that caused them to fight and kill over 1 million, over 2 million people. I said the K word again. I gotta slow down. Let me slow down. Because they will strike the channel. All right. So let's play this. Here we go. Just piece it apart. I know I'm running out of time, but hey, we got to piece it apart. Let me see. Where is it at? Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Whoop-de-whoop. Yep, we're going to give her props. We're going to give Phil his props also.
What's up, family? It's your girl, LaSherica, and this is a special moment. Before I get all the way in, let me just say how hyped I am to be on the African Diaspora News Channel. Yes, baby, you heard that right. I am officially in the building and ready to cook. It's about time they let a real one in the kitchen, and believe me, I came with my own seasoning. Shout out to Brother Phil for believing in me and letting me turn up. I'm honored to be deemed worthy enough to bring my flavor to ADNC, and trust and believe y'all won't regret it. We're serving the kind of truth that'll have the boule and every Democrat shill sweating through their suits.
All right, now, I'm not really with the AI thing, but to a degree, if we have to do it like this, all right, to reach younger people, if we have to do it like this to keep our true identity hidden so she can survive as a mom, an auntie, a teacher, keep her job, by all means, let it rip. LaSherica, make it happen. Once again, shout out to Phil for the African Diaspora News Channel.
Now let's talk about why I'm here and why you need to pull up every time I'm on the mic. See, it's not every day they let somebody like me get loose on a platform this big, but when you're called to speak for the people, you don't come to whisper, you come to shake the whole building. And baby, after what I saw at the Reagan Economic Forum, my spirit said, LaSherica, it's time to set the record straight, because they're not even trying to hide it anymore. The quiet part, they're saying it out loud. So grab your notebooks and a tall glass of water, because I got receipts, history, and a whole lot of smoke. Let's get it. Let's start with what just went down at the Reagan Economic Forum. Now, for those who missed it, let me break it all the way down. One of their own, sitting pretty in a room full of big money and big power, stood up and basically admitted with zero shame how the system deliberately used immigrants to undermine foundational Black Americans. Not only that, they bragged about using diversity quotas in higher education and the workforce as a way to sidestep FBA's.
Whoa. What did she just say? The system uses immigrants to undermine foundational Black Americans. The system? She said the system. I'm going to say that again in English with a beat behind it. The system, not Black people. The system uses immigrants and pit them against FBAs. All right? Listen good.
To undermine foundational Black Americans. Not only that, they bragged about using diversity quotas in higher education and the workforce as a way to sidestep FBAs, all under the false flag of inclusion. That's right, family. They're filling up those diversity numbers with anybody but us, then patting themselves on the back like they fixed racism. Let's check out the footage.
Affects African Americans in a very interesting way, which is actually both the universities and the corporate employers are literally, this is true, they literally import Africans so that they don't have to hire African Americans.
Whoa. Are they saying this out loud like this? Like they actually go out of their way to import Africans so they don't have to deal with foundational Black Americans. Y'all hearing this dude say this stuff out loud in your face, but y'all want to get on late night on these forums and wanting to kill one another? They're saying this in your face. I know. No one sent us the in-office memo for us to understand and send someone in to take notes for us at the Reagan National Economic Forum, the Reagan Foundational Economic Forum, all right? We didn't have anyone in the room. But this sister is laying it out. Now that we have it, now that you know, and now that Brother Sean X, ex-military officer, have told you, now that Professor Griff have told you, you need to hit the reset button. Stop arguing with our African brothers, our Caribbean brothers and sisters. All right? Now you know who's at the crux of it.
Because they and the corporate employers are literally, this is true, they literally import Africans so that they don't have to hire African Americans because they still count as Black. There was a great story. The thing that woke me up to this, there was a story in the New York Times 20 years ago about Harvard. This is Harvard admits, Black students, but which ones? Back when the New York Times could talk about these things honestly. And it quoted actually Henry Louis Gates and Lonnie Guinier at the time at Harvard Law School, basically observing that African Americans were not benefiting from an affirmative action because Harvard had figured out that they could import Nigerians. Right. And again, it's just like, great. The Nigerians are great. They're very smart. They're very productive. It's fantastic. All other things being equal, you'd like to have as many of them in your country. But like, is that really why we're doing, the set aside programs?
If you didn't catch the vibe, let me translate. Whenever FBAs start getting close to real power, real wealth, or real educational access, the powers that be pivot. They start importing diversity, not to help us, but to keep us out of rooms our ancestors died trying to enter. It's a cold game. The forum didn't stutter, didn't sugarcoat, didn't even blink. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're proud of it. This is nothing new for those of us paying attention, but what's wild is they're no longer even trying to hide it. Family, when your enemy is comfortable enough to admit the hustle in public, you better believe it's way deeper and dirtier behind closed doors.
They are admitting the game in public, meaning they don't fear you anymore. They don't fear you anymore. There's absolutely listen. If you're a daggone boxer, if you're in the sports, if you're a tennis player, all right, and the person interviews you online 2 days, 3 days, a week before the fight, or the tennis match or the basketball game or the football game, and your opponent gives you his strategy, or they give you your strategy, they don't fear you anymore. They don't care what you can do. They're doing this. They're saying this out loud in your face. You follow what I'm saying? And this is a very real dynamic that's taking place right now. Let me back it up just a little.
No longer even trying to hide it. Family, when your enemy is comfortable enough to admit the hustle in public, you better believe it's way deeper and dirtier behind closed doors. Let's rewind the tape for the folks in the back. Every time FBA's got a foothold in this country, every time we started building something real, suddenly, here come the floodgates, bringing in new diversity to undermine what we created. After emancipation, when Black folks started buying land, opening schools, and electing ourselves into office, what did America do? It opened the borders wide, imported wave after wave of European immigrants, and threw them straight into jobs, land grants, and resources meant for us. We built Black Wall Street, Wilmington, Rosewood. All those towns didn't just get burned down by mobs, but every time we rebuilt, they'd flood our areas with new populations to dilute our power. Even during the Great Migration, when FBAs moved north to chase factory jobs, unions and local governments would fill factories with European and Asian immigrants, underpaying everyone, but making sure FBAs were always last hired, first fired, and quickest to be scapegoated when the economy dipped. That's how systemic racism uses immigration, not to diversify America, but to keep Black progress in check.
They weaponize immigration, family. They weaponize integration. I'm not going to play the whole thing. You could go to Phil's channel, African Diaspora News Channel, and check this out. All right. LaSherica is her name. And she's a contributor to the ADNC, African Diaspora News Channel. All right. Support Phil and what he's doing over there, because this kind of information is vital. I'll play just a little bit more, and I'm going to put the link inside the chat so you can come on.
Fast forward to the civil rights movement. We bled in the streets for basic rights. As soon as doors started to open, bam, the 1965 Immigration Act. Suddenly, diversity means anyone from anywhere except the people who actually built this country for free. The game didn't change. It just got new players. And today, same playbook, different decade. You heard it straight from the Reagan Forum. Higher education and corporate America fill their diversity quotas with immigrants, check the box, and keep FBAs in the same underfunded, overpoliced, and underemployed positions we've been fighting to escape since 1865.
All right. Hold on. That is let me see what mark that is. All right. I got you. We're going to mark it right there in case we got to go back. Family, did you not hear that like I just heard that? You're talking about someone that's well-researched, laid it out, gave you the stats, gave you the people, let you know exactly what it is. From this day forward, I don't want you, unless you have an issue or personal issue, I don't see why y'all still arguing when y'all already know this is divide and conquer tactic. All right? Okay. I'm going to be extremely fair and open because I open this up because we do need to dialogue. And then I open this up simply because we need to learn how to have conversations with one another. All right. This is some of the things I laid out last night when I decided to go on in some of these rooms on TikTok. I went on one forum, and I asked this dude, "How old are you, man? Because you talking real sassy and fly and cute at the mouth." He didn't want to give me his age, nor did he want to show his picture. I said, "Yeah, I grew up at a time where you couldn't even talk like that, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Because we'd have to see you. You understand? They get real fly behind these keyboard killers. Oh my God, it's ridiculous, man." Anyway, wow. All right, if you're going to come on, stick to the subject matter, be respectful. All right, let's talk.
Peace, brother.
Peace. How you feel, good bro? What's good with you?
I'm doing all right, man.
Oh, son, what's happening, man?
Chilling, brother. How you doing?
Maintain it. I ain't know that. I ain't know that was you. I forgot your logo.
It's all good. Respect to you and everything connected to you, bro.
All right, what's happening?
I think what it is that this is one thing we need to take into consideration. This all started when Black people started doing a lineage analysis, right? We were doing a lineage analysis and we were doing a classification placement analysis. Mm-hmm. And that's shadow work for Black people. As you're a Pan-Africanist, I'm former Pan-Africanist, before everybody started moving away from Pan-Africanism, right? We're talking around 2011, right? People were still rocking with it, as far as Pan-Africanism and everything. But my thing is, I noted, me and my ex-wife at the time, we noted that it was difficult for us to center the Black reality within Pan-Africanism. Because
can I ask you one thing real quick?
Yeah.
You said 2011. Is that the date they started moving away from it?
Yeah, around 2011. Okay. We used to study out here in Dallas with hold on, African People's Revolutionary Party.
I got you. Hold on, son. Hold on. So let me just say this real quick. I'm gonna let you finish. So the people that are online arguing today, do they know anything about Pan-Africanism?
Most of the time, they don't.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to clear that up so people can know exactly what you're talking about, because when I mention Pan-Africanism today, young people scratch their head. They don't have a clue.
Right.
Okay. All right. So we got that. I'm sorry. Go on. Make it happen.
No, you good. You good. And my thing is that I recall speaking to other Black people, attempting to speak to other Black people about it, and it resonated to them as if we're trying to take them away from America. And we were like, well, no, let's look at it from, the diasporan view. If we're all from here, as far as Africa being, the centralized land base or where we're from, though we may be disconnected, we're talking about the efforts for us to reconnect ourselves for an element of, power acquisition and power development. Well, the thing is, what you run into is tribalism. You run into tribalism from Africans, and you also ran into tribalism from Black people, but it was like a dry tribalism from Black people, nowhere near as intense as it would be from diasporans, if you will.
Okay, so now, when you say Black people, I just want to be clear, bro, because
I'm talking about Black Americans.
Okay, that's the reason why I keep stopping you, because we got to be super clear, bro, because the ignorance that I'm hearing, when you just say Black people, they don't know what you're talking about. So you're saying Black Americans, am I correct?
Right. Yes.
Tribalism from the Africans, and then Black America. I got you. Let's go. Talk to me.
Right. Because Black Americans felt that, you were trying to take them away from America. And it's like, well, no, that's not the case. It's just that we're also connected to this as well. But then me and her took notice that, well, wait a minute, whenever, like out here in Dallas, you know what I'm saying, these state-appointed mercenaries get out of pocket, something happen, and they would respond like the Pan-Africans, like, well, you know what? That's just the police doing their job. You can't really do nothing about that. You don't want to be a reactionary, yada, yada, yada. Be a revolutionary, not a reactionary. And it's like, well, look, wait a minute. I'm not just going to project some glory about Africans' history when something contemporary and anti-Black happens here in the United States. I'm not going to use that as my safety blanket. And so me and her, we felt, okay, you know what, since we can't center ourselves, and it's wrong for us to center ourselves how we culturally, wish to, we fell back. Now, later, a lot of other people did, but now I think that because when the analysis started, it was Black people who was taking on more of a tribal sense of ourselves, right? And that's shadow work. I see that as shadow work because I know how sensitive it is to talk to Black people about their connection to America, the ill connection to America versus the potential connection to the diaspora, right? Again, power-wise, most Black people wasn't thinking like that. But now, at that time where it happened, again, nobody should have said nothing. Nobody for the diaspora should have said nothing or spoke out of turn, because you got the people who are fractured, who are deciding, okay, you know what, let's take this look at ourselves, reassess ourselves, and you know, cultural reassessment, lineage reassessment, or a triangulation, you know what I'm saying, onto a more stern point of identity within one's lineage.
Okay.
Nobody should have said nothing.
hold
Nobody should have
on.
had nothing negative to say.
I got you. So take a deep breath, bro, because this is a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're well studied, you and your wife, you understand what I'm saying? And that's a lot to unpack for the average 18 to 35-year-old. You understand? Like, for example, when you were talking a few minutes ago, Queen Yasmin said young people don't need Pan-Africanism. So if you're not giving it, like, for example, when you go to, if you go to answer that, right? If you're not putting it in 140 characters, if you give reference to a book or whatever, oh, it's a wrap. You lose that individual. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, because that's not the reality that they're connected to in awareness of international relations potentially.
Okay, so as in place of Pan-Africanism, if she is correct, what has replaced it? Meaning, how can we get young people in America to understand the contributions of our brothers and sisters in Africa? And then, can you please, real quick, briefly, what is the Pan in Pan-Africanism?
Well, the Pan in Pan-Africanism is meaning that we all identify as being, you know, one people. It's a hyper type of intention, right? It's political, but it's also cultural because of the shared the shared historical circumstances that we have. But yes, there were differences in there, but having to deal with colonialism, having to deal with imperialism, right? That is something that we all share potentially, you know what I'm saying, as a group. And that is something that, so it's like, okay, to identify through that unifier is not wrong, right? And it doesn't take away from your own home base standing. Right. You also have a, you know what I'm saying, you just also have a shared relatability, if you will. If not a relationship, it could potentially have became that, right? But again, like I said, I think that's what it was. I think most Black people, ever since I was a child, it struck me that most Black people want to be more American than Black. And the American that they want to be is that which white America says, okay, well, you know, it's permissible if you do this or whatever. And that was my issue.
So what is being American like? What is being American? Because you kind of think if we went through 400 and some odd years of slavery, then what is being American like? Like, what is that?
I think to Black people, being American is being accepted by white people. And this is why Martin Luther King said there's two Americas. You tend to white America, you pine for white America, and you neglect Black America. You feel me? That's what it strike. That's what it strike to me. That's what it strike me as. And but the whole thing with the young people aren't connected to any understanding of, you know, Pan-Africanism, largely because Black people as a whole wasn't really connected to that as a culture. That's still pocketed, right? That you got the grassroots community that's been around the entirety of the time, but yet the bulk of the Black community doesn't participate within it.
Okay, and so when I was growing up, right? Yeah. My family and friends and people that they was basically like, don't come over here with that Black shit. Yeah. It was always Griff and that Black shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you come talking that Black shit. And then when the Public Enemy thing happened, we put that Black shit in the song. Now everybody want to dance and party.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So we figure out a way to get it over to our people in a very palatable way, in an envelope, in a package that they could readily accept. But what I find, brother, what's happening with you right now and what happened past tense with me, I think I talked too deep and too much, and it lost a lot of people. So I stopped. No, I'm dead serious, bro. When this 140 character thing came, I talked less. I talk in small little sound bites, so you can't say you didn't get it. And I said it loud enough. You understand what I'm saying? Hold on, I got to bring Don P up in the room. But anyway, I understand exactly what you're saying, good bro. other comment. Hold it. This man still talking about looking towards Africa. See, it's comments like that it's hard for me to wrap my brain around. Because did you listen to the top of this show?
Yes.
Okay, so I laid out the inventions. Last show, I laid out all the natural minerals that are still under the Africans' feet in Africa that the world is going to need. Would you agree?
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Okay, so then why would this person come, unless they a bot, unless they just on here to cause trouble, why wouldn't we be looking towards Africa and Africa looking towards Black Americans here? Why wouldn't we look towards Africa?
That's because it's never been personal between Black people and Africans, though. It's never been like something that's super personal. And with this that, let's say within the last 5 years, with that new assessment, or let me say last 6 years, because ADOS really, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't really too much heat when ADOS was rocking, but when FBA came, they got, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more flavors intentionally to have a little bit more Black flavor put toward it, not so much of a Democratic connection, right? Then you had people speak up out of turn when they shouldn't. And FBA came in just to keep it spicy. So they came in with the funk. They came in with the funk for ADOS, and that was of the very same lineage. So what does anybody outside of our lineage think they're going to get when they interrupt, very disrespectfully, Black people doing this type of shadow work on ourselves? I think what it was is that they got too comfortable, and the type of flack that Black people put on one another, the heat, you know what I'm saying? They're starting to feel that now, and they don't like it. And now it's a snowball effect, because they weren't supposed to be out of pocket in the first place. But now a lot is being exposed, and you can't close Pandora's box with that, man, because there's been some things that was said that wasn't pertaining to none of it. And it's like, okay, so y'all got these cultural views about us that stem back from how far back, and how many, what is the differential of the diaspora versus Black people? There's a lot of differential with
Black people in America, right?
But yeah, Black Americans. Well, the thing when I say black, to me is tribal. I put my Black identity together with Black culture. So when I say Black,
younger people don't do that, son. That's why I keep trying to tell you.
Right, they classify themselves, or they permit them. Their Blackness is merely non-whiteness ultimately, and Black people are actually moving away from that. They're making their own stance in their Blackness, in their identity. You know, with Black Americans, right? Again, it's shadow work, homie. Because most of the time, Black people was cool trying to be that general American, right?
Well, son, you said shadow work 9 times since you've been talking. See, we got to understand something. You know what it is. I know what it is.
Right.
The average dude that's on cursing people out at night on TikTok and on X, they truly don't know, and they are not doing the work, bruh. They just not.
Right.
For example, they told me last night, I'm not FBA. My dad, Blackfoot Native American, right? We got relatives in Africa and the Caribbean islands, and on the reservation.
Okay.
Native American, indigenous Native American brothers and sisters. My mama is from West Virginia, Pinesville, Beckley area. But they told me I'm not foundational Black American. I'm half this and part that and a little bit of that.
It's convenient now, man. They're hitting everything, dog. And now you got all this hyper confusion, when there really should just be an understanding of what it is that you and Brother Rich presented the other day. It's like, look, you are in let's say you're hypothetically, you're in another person's country. You're able to get yourself to a point towards where you are somewhat of a fixture in their nation, right? You contribute. You're at a high political, economic level, whatever. What about your access that you gain gives you access to speaking negatively against how they historically assess their trauma, their identity, their contribution? It would be of the highest disrespect for you to believe that you have that type of access. But that's how they come here. And most of the time, Black people, Black Americans, it's been water off a duck back most of the time. Well, it's not water off a duck back no more.
Right, right.
And
I got you. Can I bring Don P on real quick?
please.
To see, just because he's been waiting for a minute. You have anything to say, Don P, real quick before we get back to Son?
Yeah, how's it going, Professor Griff? Can you hear me?
How you doing? Yes, we hear you.
All right, loud and clear, loud and clear. All right, cool. To your topic, I just hopped on. I haven't heard a lot of what y'all was saying. In the beginning, I don't know how long the stream was going, but to the topic of unity, right? What I've seen is it's a lot of in order for unity to be had, if you're referring to foundational Black Americans, Africa, and everybody from the diaspora, it has the conversations have to be rooted in truth. Do you agree?
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And when I talk about unity, I'm talking about within FBA, foundational Black Americans in America. We need to unify amongst one another, not only with Africa and the Caribbean islands. So go on.
Yeah, well, yeah. We do. I mean, as far as us unifying amongst one another, I feel like that is the case. Now, are you referring to like the black on black crime talking
No,
point?
we never said anything about black on black crime. We just talking
No,
about.
I'm asking. I'm not assuming. I'm asking.
Oh no. We just talking about unifying with one another so we can advance ourselves. Because if the AU, if the African Union had a meeting, right? Who represented us? Even if we
who
were
represents?
listen, Don P. Even if we were invited to the table, who are we going to send?
What? See, can I answer your question? Is that rhetorical?
All right, ask me the question.
All right, so to answer your question, man, like the beautiful part about what you just said was we're just now finding out that our quote unquote representatives has been the one that's been sabotaging us this whole time.
Exactly.
Via the Urban League, via the the NAACP. You know, they've been sabotaging us. And we've been seeing that lately through us delineating and through us checking people's paperwork to see if you're really for us or if you're not for us or not. You see what I mean? So we thought we had these representatives. We're finding out that we don't. So yeah, we don't have it right now to answer your question. But now that we know who's the turncoats, now that we know who's sabotaging us, now that we know who's not on code,
okay,
we can start building that up from scratch.
Okay,
you know, the organic way.
Can I answer that for you?
Yes, sir.
We've always had representatives that agree with the representatives in Africa. All right, we had Patrice Lumumba. They assassinated him. We had Winnie Mandela. You understand what I'm saying? We had leaders there. Maurice Bishop, Emile Cabral. Right now, Ibrahim Traore. We have Goita in Mali. I could go down the list. Way before probably you were born, we had people that understood Black Americans. You understand what I'm saying? And when they came and they sat at the table, they embraced our cause and we embraced their cause. So we're just not now finding out. We've been known this. This is why Malcolm wanted to connect the liberation struggle of Black people in America with the liberation struggle of our brothers and sisters in Africa and throughout the world.
But does that also grant us access for reassessing our identity? You know, if we need to, in our placement within the social class.
Yes, it does. Indeed, it does, simply because we have to get the Africans to understand a deeper aspect of who we are as Black people and our struggle here. And then, son, we need to see the common ground. How would we benefit if one African country right now said, listen, I got billions of dollars I want to give y'all. You understand what I'm saying? Can we get it? No. Gaddafi did that and was about to give the NOI $1 billion to advance Black people's cause in America.
Right.
Couldn't even get the money, bro.
I see. That's the thing, Professor Griff. I don't discount that we have writers. You know, I'm very familiar with Winnie Mandela. I'm familiar with Nelson Mandela, and you know, I have I take issues. I take a lot of issues with the African thing, right? Is because now we're at a standpoint now to where we have people who practice Pan Africanism their whole life, and they seeing things for what it is. And now they at a crossroads because you're naming the riders like maybe Mandela and all the other riders that you named. It's a lot of riders that come from the Caribbean. It's a lot of riders that come from Africa. But the thing is, what is the culture in terms of them unifying themselves? And what I mean
Wait,
by
wait,
that
wait,
is
wait,
if you
wait.
make up
Let's answer that. Let's answer that. Let's answer that because it gets a little bit complicated. You said, what is the culture of them
of them
unifying?
unifying amongst themselves, making up
Okay,
over 95% of the
let's
population as melanated
let's
people.
answer that. Let's answer that question,
Mhm.
Don P.
Yes, sir.
So, do you know anything about colonization?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when you
I
talk
do.
about
I'm very familiar with it.
culture and them unifying themselves, you mean in one country or all 54 different countries?
All 50, I'm talking about all 54, and I'm not just
Okay.
including Africa. I'm talking about the
No,
diaspora too,
Don
including
P.
Jamaica.
Don P. No, stop complicating it, bruh. Can we slow down a little? If you're talking about
Okay.
all 54 countries, you mean to tell me all of them coming together? That is 1,000 different damn cultures, bruh. That ain't one culture.
But
Okay,
that, but that, but there, but there, I
All right,
think therein
and
is
that's
the issue,
and
brother.
hold on.
respectfully, Professor Griff, I think that takes part of the issue,
Yeah,
right? Because if you compare it to what we went through, only making 13% of the population, all of us is not of the same accord. Some of us practice different religions, whether it's Muslim, Christianity, Catholic, whatever. Some of us, don't. Some of us, have different accents. Some of us have different language. I mean, different accent barriers and
Okay.
how we cook and all of that. However, when it comes to building and when it comes to unifying, as far as making up 13% of the population, we did our thing. And I know a lot of
yeah.
people want to bring up Black Wall Street, but Wilmington, a whole bunch of things that we did. The thing is, when we only make up 13% of the population, we kick in the YT
Don-
supremacist ASS.
Okay,
Now,
Don,
when
hold
we
on.
talk about,
Hold on.
go ahead,
Hold on.
brother, go ahead.
Could you please do me a favor? And I'm not trying to stifle your wisdom. Can you please stop running that number down 13%? Because we're not 13%, bro. I don't want to. I don't know where you got that from.
I agree with you. I always put 13 in quotation marks. I agree with you.
Okay, I really appreciate that because you're confusing young people.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Because I know about 5 people that's here illegally.
No, I agree with you. I think the numbers are skewed when that percentage, but
and they're not counted, bro. Okay.
You know
All
what? I think when you brought up the thousands of different cultures of
Mhm.
the continent, the supercontinent
Mhm.
of Africa, right? Compared with our one that we have here, why is it that no matter where they're from there, they have a difficulty, you know what I'm saying, respectfully ascribing themselves to our one culture that we got here?
Because they don't know themselves and they don't know us. If you study who we are, like for example, I keep showing this book on every broadcast. The average person coming over here from Eritrea, beautiful sister, beautiful brother from Ethiopia and other places, Sudan and other, they don't know this.
Right.
They don't know. There's people in America that can't get along with people in the South. That's in New York that can't get along with the South. You understand?
Right.
What I'm saying? We don't necessarily understand people on the West Coast. It's hard for us to get along. So how do you expect 54 different countries, thousands of different cultures, different languages to come over here and readily, not knowing who we are, not knowing our history, not knowing theirs, been colonized and brainwashed? You expect them to come over here and adapt? Bruh, you asking
No.
for a
I
lot.
don't. No.
I
Not adapt.
respect
No. They don't
Professor
have
Griff.
to adapt. At the least, respect. I don't give a damn if they attempt to attach themselves or
Right.
not. If anything, I would prefer that somebody remain in their cultural integrity. I prefer them not to try to be the best American that they can be, because the American value system is poisonous. Okay, it's poisonous to these peckerwoods, so it's poisonous to everybody else. They just don't act like that it is, right? I would rather them maintain some cultural
African has a
integrity.
little bit more difficult time because they don't understand how we get down. So can we
address the whole?
Can we have
can I address the analogy?
Son, can we have some compassion though, son?
Yeah, we can have some compassion, but that's also has to be returned.
My relatives come over here, right? And they have to know how to get down over here. I have to have some compassion.
But brother, I feel like the analogy you made with the New York to the South thing, like, yeah, there is like a slight rift, but it's not like where we coming from New York going down south, becoming politicians and telling people, okay, the way y'all do things in the South is backwards. So as a politician, I'm not gonna allow this. I'm not gonna allow that. Like it's something jovial. Like this is like that New York and South thing, that's family business. Like that's not even like a huge big rift where it's some type of animosity. We're not sabotaging. We're not coming to the South sabotaging people from the South. We're not doing that.
Africans are doing that.
So
are you saying Africans are doing that? Are you saying?
I'm yes, African. I'm saying not all Africans. I want to generalize, not all Africans, but I'm saying that the ones that we. Of course, absolutely. The first example I'm gonna give is Obama. That's the first example. Kamala Harris. That's the second example.
Whoa, Don, hold on, bro.
Yes, sir.
Just slow down a little because I'm not that smart. When you say Obama, like you're talking about African sabotaging. How'd you come up with Obama?
Obama isn't he king?
Isn't he what?
Yeah, but he didn't make his move from his Kenyan side. He made it from his mama's side, cuz.
Yeah, thank
you.
He
made it. Okay, all right. So, but here's the thing. Why did we vote for Obama in large numbers? As far as specifically for the Black American population, the foundation.
Because Black people like representation in America. Black people have always pined for representation.
Perfect. So why? All right. So why didn't
we would pick somebody else that we could have been like?
Yeah, that's
I'm trying to make a point. I'm trying to make a point. Why didn't Obama do anything?
We're not talking about Obama, Don P. Please, come on, bro.
I'm just giving you. I could give you another example. That's fine. You want me to name another one?
Can we not name Kamala Harris either? That's just no, bro. Seriously.
Why not? Why not, Professor Griff?
They're not from the African side.
What African culture are they represented? Hold up. Okay, let's open it up. What African culture are they representative of then? I want to know this. What African culture do they represent?
I'm not just talking about Africans. I'm talking about the diaspora. Like when I'm talking,
okay, what cultures do they represent?
I'm just talking on my point. I'm talking about the diaspora all across the board.
Okay.
That was not the conversation, man. Bro, that wasn't the conversation we were having. Stop deflecting, man. Come on, bro.
What is the cultures? What is the cultures that they represent that are of a foundation where the intention is to specifically be against Black people?
Right.
Black Americans.
It's not a culture where it's not a culture where the incentive to be against Black people. It's for me, I feel like it's to undermine it. So I'll give you an example. And I grew up in New York as well, specifically Yonkers, New York. And a lot of people in New York, whether people want to admit it or not, they can attest to that. I don't care if you got friends out there who's African, you know how their families are. Let's keep it a stat. A lot of their family members have a culture, and I say a culture because it's all across the board with them. When a lot of them come over here, is to tell us, why are you chilling with those people? Stay away from them. They're lazy. Don't let them babysit your kids. Don't let Black Americans babysit your kids. Don't let them do that. Okay, cool. If these same people is becoming doctors and nurses and having all type of businesses as as foundational Black Americans, we was always taught to just respect anybody regardless of where they come from. So we never looked at it as, okay, you're African or you're this or you're that. We looked at it as, okay, you Black. So we're gonna patronize your businesses because you Black. The thing is, we find out that a lot of them don't think like that. And I feel
because
like
they didn't give themselves that obligation. We gave ourselves that obligation. And that's what we actually kind of prided ourselves on. This is why I say black the way I say black. I say it tribally. I believe that you got other people coming over, and these are tribal distinctions that they're presenting, that people want this American dream. We all can be one. Try to hold that type of lens too, right? That whole we are the worldism and shit. And it's like, nah, that's not how it works. That was the issue that you ran, that I felt that we weren't able to take into consideration in our participation within Pan-Africanism. Because it's like, okay, well, a lot of these, people from Africa, they come here and they're not Pan-Africanists together amongst themselves before they interact with us. And they don't come seeking out the Pan-African areas within the United States, right?
Right.
That was
So
something that I
all right,
made
so how
note
does
of.
that benefit us, brother? If they
Well,
don't?
no. It's not whether it's a benefit or not. The thing is, those are tribal ties. What we should look at is something that can't be changed, or identify that which can't be changed at all, right? And really understand that this is what we were identifying and solidifying and galvanizing within ourselves, our tribal ties. And this is when everybody else spoke up out of pocket. So this is why you got the back and forth and everything. That's why I say this shit is shadow work for black people, because black people don't normally go into lineage analysis like this. They're cool just believing that they're just the American that white people are. But things have changed.
Let me introduce the next person. Hold on. Let me introduce the next person and let people know, if you're just tuning in, this is Professor Griff on Arm the Masses right here on Black Power Media Reloaded. Conversation is unity, the unity of Black Americans and Black Africans. I showed 2 or 3 clips already. We broke down what LaSherica gave us from the African Diaspora News, and we're just talking about unity, solutions to how we could come together and unify. And before I bring on the next person, just to let you know, to speak to what Don P. and Son was just talking about, my wife initiated into the hand of Ifa, which is the African tradition, that shadow work that Son is talking about. She doesn't put it out there simply because a lot of Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, shun African tradition. We'd rather do Muslim, Islam, Christianity, churchianity, all the other stuff, as opposed to going back to the root. You understand what I'm saying? So as Don P said, this creates the cultural issues that we have. So let me bring up our next person. Can you show us a logo, a face, ashy ass elbow? Can you show us something? But I'm trying to.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We got to see something. Yeah, show us a
Can
picture
you hear
of your
me?
cat. Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, bro, the reason that I don't have that stuff because I'm not that good on Facebook. I actually called in.
And we respect that. We got you.
Yes, sir. So I actually called in to your show, man, from about like 3 weeks ago. Actually, you probably don't remember. You got a lot of people that call in. You probably don't remember that. But I was just listening to you, and you said that this is about unity, about Africans and Americans coming together.
Yes.
And I just like to say this right here, because like I said, I am from the South, and we had that discussion once before about that New York down south divide, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was more like in the 90s and stuff like that right there, where there were New Yorkers, I believe that our family up there was going more into the science of everything. And down south, we were basically dealing with the practical application of dealing with YT in the world, where our brothers up there went and started to expand that thing. But either way it go, at some point, you're going to get back to the roots. So I just wanted to say this, coming from the South. And I think that the disconnect that we're having right now is that if you just look at how our people are moving right now, and what I mean is, even when this election happened, our people are not out there marching. They're not out there running because somebody might want us to be out there. We're not running. Even Pan-Africans are not out there marching like that for them. You can't get a politician. You can't get a celebrity. You can't get an all-star. You can't get an athlete to get us to go out there and thump for nobody. And that's who we are. because we've been doing this for a long time. Right down the street from me, there's an HBCU, 1867. And I'm saying like this, that HBCU started in a house, an outhouse. Now, if you ever been down south, that's basically something called a shotgun house, where you can open the door, you can see from the front through the back.
Wait, bro, I see you about to get emotional. Just calm it down.
I'm not
for a
getting
second.
emotional.
We understand. You said a whole lot of things that we're trying to understand.
I'm getting there.
But we didn't understand the last 4 sentences. So when you say we don't get out there anymore for any politician, what does that mean? Because people was out in the street for Barack Obama a minute ago.
They're not now. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Can I just say one thing? Can I say Kamala Harris had people out there for her. That was a minute ago.
They're not now. I said after the election. Remember I said that? I said after the election. Right.
I'm just trying to understand. When you say after the election, well, what happened after the election? She lost. So black people pulled back and went inside. Right. And we went, okay, we got some rest. So when you say after, what happened after the election that we should have been outside?
No, that's what this whole thing is about. Give me an opportunity. That's what this whole thing is about, coming together. And the reason that you're not getting that, you're not going to get that from any sector. That means from New York. That means from down south. That means Midwest. That means West Coast. That means all of us are on the same accord. There is people that don't really like it, but they're not going to get out there, because the majority of our people and the spirit of who we are not going to do that. So you can be Pan-African. You can be anything that you want. Whenever our people move, whether it been after slavery or any of these laws that were passed, when our people were out there in the streets, when our people marched down south, or when they marched up anywhere, just give me 4 minutes and I'm gonna get off. Give me 4 minutes, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna let y'all have this, because I know some people. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, black man. Then I'm gone. 2 minutes. Then y'all can go and dissect this any kind of way you want, because see, a lot of people is gonna understand this and they're gonna be looking at y'all at. So and that's why I wanted to get just like 2 minutes. You can come up here and talk all you want and try to take little slick jabs at FBA and try to promote Pan-Africanism. The reason our people are not out there from the north to the south and everywhere else, Griff, is because the people like elites, people that think they smart like you, that constantly disrespect people, acting like you don't, smiling like.
Who took a jab? He didn't take a jab. Who took a jab?
I don't know what he talking about. Somebody, an elite like me. Hold on, an elite like me who take jabs at trying to promote Pan-African. I never said I was a Pan-Africanist. I don't know where that's got. I don't know. Anyway.
What I'm starting to see, like with the youth and the OGs, it's clearly a disconnect in terms of like what we perceive to be in these modern times, right? It's a disconnect. And what I noticed that when you talked about Kamala Harris and people was voting for her, but like in 2020, a lot of us within the Black grassroots, we pulled her card because we called her out for, cosplaying as, one minute, she's representatives to everybody who's, Indian, and then the next minute when she's campaigning, she wants to be black all of a sudden to use our swing vote. So like when we called her out for that, and when you say things like, people was voting for her, on the surface it seemed like they was, but not really. That was the
no. I just
not really. If we really was, she would have won.
They came outside. I was just answering him. They came outside. Kamala Harris.
Yeah, she did have massive support. I mean, so
that's what I said.
She did.
Yeah,
she had massive support.
Yeah,
but there was also the contending view that usually don't call politicians and said accountability. So let's say that definitely had started as well. The accountability train was on, if you will. But she still had massive support. But what I'm trying to get people to understand is that, look, for Black people to take this type of analysis is something sensitive. It's basically we're doing surgery for Black Americans. This is surgery for us. Everybody else already has fully established identity, cultures, all of that. Your placement where you are in your society. Some of y'all coming here thousands and plus years deep to, you know what I'm saying, participate in this. Ours is about maybe 300 at the most. Okay, it's like, okay, give it its pace that it needs in order to heal itself, because it's definitely fractured, is sabotage, is systematically lessened and demoralized, and all of this. It's like people are receiving Black people within the 100% of our cultural standing, expression, potential, all of that, right? And not want to take into consideration that, yes, we here standing with all of the world's people, but we got chains on us. You know what I'm talking about? We got 1,000-pound anvils on every goddamn limb, cuz. So go about it respectively. And they don't. So when that happens, and as I tell all the rest of the world, y'all see how hard we can bang on one another, right? All the cosplaying that people doing, all of the through media, of any form of media, CD, you know what I'm saying, TV, cinema, whatever. You know how we can get when we have angst with one another. If you jump out of pocket with us, how's it that y'all don't think y'all gonna get none of that angst, man?
Right.
And you show up at a point to where we're doing self-surgery. What the fuck? You ain't supposed to be present. You ain't supposed to say nothing. This is operation. We can't even touch the size of this shit. You feel me? We got to be very strategic. And they show up disrupted as hecklers to surgery, cuz. What the hell do they think they gonna get?
So let me ask you this, and I agree with everything you said. Do you feel like what you said has been going on, or do you agree with a lot of folks who said like this is just some internet stuff?
No, it's been going on. It's just that Black people, it's always been water off a duck back to Black people. I remember I first encountered it in Los Angeles, California on the RTD. You know what I'm saying? Ran into the first African. We didn't have Africans in Oklahoma back in the early 80s, right? They weren't around me, just nothing but Black Americans, right? I didn't have no pilgrims in my neighborhood. I only saw them at school and only saw them when we went to the store, right? North Tulsa. And when we fled North Tulsa due to CRACK, you know what I'm saying, to Southern California, out the pot into the fire, you know, that California is much more diverse. All right, bred to an African. I was already assuming that we were all one people as a young Black child, just based off of, you know what I'm saying, the earlier, that was around 1991 at that time, right? You know what I'm saying? Brother Griff was doing this thing, the leather medallion, African medallion, was everywhere, you know what I'm saying? We was repping it, X-Clan, all that, you feel me?
Right.
Ascari X, gotta throw it out there for a shout out to Ascari X. And so it's like, yo, I'm thinking that, yo, you know, we on some one people shit. I was thinking any Black person who wasn't from America could potentially tell me a little bit more about myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was already seeing the connection. We talking fourth grade, fam. And the way that Nigerian looked at me when I just went up to him to ask him something in the fourth grade, bruh. And you had heard that, well, Africans don't mess with us. Africans don't like us, blah, blah, blah. They're like, all right, well, I didn't know that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? No different from Black men ain't shit. When I heard that at that young age, I didn't know that had been a thing for like almost 20 years or something. It was like, yo, for what? Where all of this come from? You don't know where none of it come from, but yet you're besieged by all, you know what I'm saying, by all this this history that happened before you got here, and now you're here participating in some form of identity that's connected to it that you don't even know the identity of, man. You too young.
That's why I said in the beginning of the show, I said this is them other people doing it. This is a psychological operation. And the ex-military dude, the clip that I showed, he kind of laid it out. They put this thing among us, this division among us. I'm like you, son. I didn't know nothing about Africans not liking us. I studied African history in certain African-centered circles. I've been in certain organizations. We knew the history of Africa, so we didn't hate Africans. We didn't know the Africans didn't like us. So
Right.
let me go to the comments and let's answer some of these questions. This young Yasmin says, we are not propping up Africa anymore. The fact that our voices for what we want of our people cannot be accepted and respected is problematic. We're not propping up Africa. When do we ever prop up Africa? I could say I might be guilty of that, Yasmin, because like Son just said, we took off the fake Dookie gold ropes and we put on African medallions because we wanted to educate people about the Black African diaspora. I'm guilty of that. But when you say Africa, Yasmin, please be clear. Africa is 54 countries. What part of Africa are you talking about? I said coming on stage, and you can go back, this is documented, when Professor Griff opened up that Public Enemy show and I took the mic, I said the revolution will not be televised. You understand what I'm saying? Then I said to people, down with apartheid, free Mandela. Because we were in sync and in harmony. We understood the liberation struggle of our people in South Africa and throughout the world. And we taught people about Africa and America. So when you say we're not propping up Africa anymore on a massive scale, Son and Don P, when do we ever prop up Africa?
Never did. Never.
And that's the thing, brother. Speaking from a perspective of a young buck, I've been brought up on you. I've been brought up on Khalid Muhammad. I've been brought up on Shahrazad Ali. I've been brought up on a lot of y'all, who is teaching this. And I'm not saying what y'all teaching is wrong. What I'm saying is this. Then that's why I asked the question: has this been something that has been going on? And he says no. And for you guys to say that, well, I never knew that Africans wasn't, all right, cool. Like, I'm not gonna call y'all liars. I'm not gonna disrespect y'all like that. But there's been stories on top of stories, and people giving firsthand accounts of talking about their families telling them to basically stay away from us. Do not associate with them.
Don,
Do not rock the boat.
You keep repeating the same old stuff, man. It's like, bro, answer the question, please, bro. When did we? She said we are not propping up Africa anymore. I just asked a basic question, bro. When did we?
All right, to answer your question, as far as the grassroots goes, no, absolutely not, sir. No.
Okay, so I'm just
No,
trying
sir.
to get to we trying to get to the root of it for the little time I have left, which is about 10 minutes. We got to get to the root of it. No, it's all right, good, bro. I mean, I just want to be clear. That's the only reason why I stopped y'all and cut y'all off. I don't mean, you'll know I'm not disrespectful. I'm just trying to get clarity so the people behind us, the dude that's 20 years old right now, 24 years old, can understand what we're talking about, because they're looking at us like old heads. Like Son said, we never knew that was a thing, Don P. When Kwanzaa came around, I put on the African dashiki, I participated. When I went through my rites of passage, I learned how to play the djembe. All of this was African. I could take my camera and show you around my room African statues, African Black leaders. I can show you drums. The drum that I play now is an African drum from Nigeria. It's called the Udu. I can show you around my home. I can show you Africa in any room you go in my home. So, because I never knew I wasn't African, I always kind of knew it was in my blood. I always knew I was Blackfoot Native American. That's what my dad taught me. So I did not know these things. So when I'm hearing this, Don P, you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, I heard the African booty scratcher thing, but I just thought everybody cracked fucking jokes in high school. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
There was no Africans around when we called each other that. There was no we called each, if you were dark skinned, you was potentially an African booty scratcher, cuz, for real.
Exactly, Don P. So maybe this is a new internet thing. I'm not sure, but we didn't grow up like that, bro. That's why I'm trying to get to the root of it. That's why I said at the beginning of the show, Don P, we went through this with the Black Panther Party, this divide and conquer thing. I don't have no gripes, no argument with anybody from Africa. But if you come over here disrespecting Black people, yeah, we gonna have an issue, bro. Yeah, I don't care where you from. We gonna have an issue. If you coming up from the Virgin Islands, the Caribbean islands, from wherever, disrespecting foundational Black Americans, we're going to have an issue. But I'm not going to approach the solution in a niggardly kind of way, bro. I'm not going to do that. I'd rather sit, talk, slow down, be clear. I'm not trying to intellectualize everything, but I want to be able to be clear. This stuff that you're seeing in the chat, are you reading this stuff, Don P?
Yeah, I see it all the time, man.
You see the
see
degree of ignorance? Are you seeing this degree of ignorance?
Well, give me an example. Which part is ignorance? Which, like, just to see what your perspective is.
It says we have to be the last comment. We have to be delineated first before any building. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when we break off into this delineation, right? Where does the cultural, as I put in my description, cultural, economic unity, where does that political unity, where does that come in?
Right.
Where's that happen?
It has happened for us. I see, the only thing I could point to answer your question is our direct history. It has happened in the past. Whether it was forced to or not doesn't matter. It has happened with us, with just us.
Can I say something, Don P?
Go ahead, brother.
In a minute, this is what, let's just say next 5 years, are we going to need those precious minerals that Africa is giving us, or Africa will potentially do business with us and trade?
Do you think Africa plans on booting out America?
To answer your question, with a lack of knowledge of knowing what resources America really has, yes.
No, I'm not talking about what America has. I'm talking about what Africa have that we as Black people, not America, as Black people in America, going to need to survive from now on. Do you think we need to at least have some kind of trade route, understanding, cultural understanding, all right, of Africa and African countries, one country at a time?
To be honest with you, at this point, logically, I would say yes, but at this point, yeah, you know what? Yes, for the sake of argument, yes.
So you're saying yes. So what kind of educational process do we need to go through in order to understand our brothers and sisters that want to do business with us from the Congo? Who's the
what
leader?
Educational process?
Yeah, what process? Because I want those minerals coming from the Congo. As a businessman, yeah, as a potential leader of my organization, I want to know the brothers and sisters in Mali, what natural resources are they sitting on that I'm going to need in America to build what we need to build over here? Help me out.
Honestly, I don't know, Professor Griff. I don't know. I don't know. Let me ask you this: Do you have an answer to that?
Of course I do. I study economics, man. I study political science.
No, I'm just talking specifically with the countries that you speak of.
When it comes to every African country, I'm looking forward 5 years from now, when Black people get our shit together and we create an infrastructure, when we want to do open business and trade with any African country, all right, we're going to need to have a cultural understanding of that particular country. Know how to speak.
Professor Griff, you mentioned something that was key. You said when we get our stuff together, how can we do that?
That's going to take a process, bro. That's what I'm trying to get to. And I'm glad you said that, Don P, because I said earlier in the broadcast, the African Union got together and had a meeting about reparations, and they wanted to give Africans reparations. Then someone came along, quote unquote, trying to represent Black people in the United States, talking about the 6th region. They claim that we're the 6th region, and they're going to include us in the reparations. And people kicked up.
You agree with that?
I disagree with that, because you're not representing us. You're not from us. We need to send a representative. And I'm asking you and son, who is the representative that's going to leave here and go there to speak for who we are as foundational Black Americans?
Professor Griff, respectfully, like the questions you asking, like I'm speaking as somebody who's tuned in with the grassroots. At this point, we're so far removed away from having any type of dealings with Africa. Period. That's what I'm saying. So at this point, I can't even comprehend or fathom what you're saying at this
Oh, I
point.
got you.
Now, 10 years ago, if you was to ask me that, I probably
Yeah.
would have had an answer for you because I was
Right.
practicing Pan-Africanism.
Right. I
But
got you.
now we're not. We're focusing on cutting off the dead weight with us and getting our stuff together, as you would say, by cutting off the dead weight and unifying and
Can
getting
we?
to that mold again. Go ahead,
So
brother.
can we send some of them people that's in the comments? Can we send some of them to represent us?
Would
Can
you?
we say some
Okay,
of the people, and that's
wait a minute.
that's
Wait.
go ahead, brother.
The thing is, um, the issue is that the delineation didn't put anyone down. The delineation was going to occur anyway
Right.
after the reassessment of the positioning and the potential receptivity, right? Again, that's why I say two things. Black people were utilized, Black Americans were utilized as a social class portal. And the way that everybody else can participate in being an American is through that minorityism or whatever, right? And then you have those who are also shared within the skin color categorization of the classification of being Black, not just Black culturally connected, Black culturally identified, just merely Black based off of on the books, right? The thing is, we still have a Black identity. Everybody else come here, their identity is from wherever that they're from.
Right.
But they're also able to participate in the social class in ways that benefit them more than it benefit us. No difference from when affirmative action came into place and it was white women that took the lion's share of that, right? No difference. The thing is, what we're doing, that's why the delineation is present. There ain't nothing against those people, nothing against their cultures, nothing against their foundation and nothing. It's just like, well, no, this is where we need you to be for us in America. And this is where we need to be for us. This is where you are placed in that. And it is what it is. You already been benefiting. So why are you speaking against us? You got people from the diaspora speaking against reparations. It's like, wait a minute, you weren't even fucking here. Well, how the fuck you gonna open up your mouth to speak against that and then want to say we? You have any idea how out of pocket that is? That's out of pocket for Black people just here, let alone somebody who ain't from here.
That's out of pocket for real. Hold on, let me bring this other brother on because I'm running out of time. I just text my man, asked him, can I get 10 more minutes? He said, yeah. So Isaac Jasper, talk to me, man. We got to make it brief. We got to make it brief, though.
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you, Professor Griff, for having me on your show. I am a part of Black Power Media. I am a member of Black Power Media, part of the Rise Up Morning Show. I am a Pan-African, so I'm representing Pan-Africanism. As I see that there are two foundational Black Americans on screen on a Pan-African network channel. And so I just wanted to represent Pan-Africanism and kind of debunk some of the fallacies that have been shared here. So
what do you think is the main beef between those that consider themselves African or Pan-African and FBA?
We are allowing a pathological lie produced by white hegemony.
I just want to be clear. Are you not an
No, I'm
FBA,
not
brother?
an FBA brother. Sorry if you thought I was. Like I said,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Hold on.
I wanted to
I'm
clarify that
speaking.
we're not
I'm
a group.
speaking right now. He asked me a question, so I'd like to finish
let him
answering
answer,
that question. Thank you.
Let him answer.
My apologies.
We have a fallacy, a pathological fallacy. It's a lie. People pathologically believe that we have no connection to Africa and the people in Africa have no connection to us. We also forget that, again, only 5% of Africans that were taken from Africa, our ancestors, were brought here to America. Over 46% were taken to Brazil and were taken to other areas of the West Indies and the Caribbean. Okay, so for us here in America to think that we are the sundae and not the cherry on top in regards to reparations is idiotic. When we start to individualize our own self-determination and sovereignty and liberations as Africans, we start to do the white man's work. Okay, and I'm not speaking out of my ass. I'm saying shit that Dr. Marimba Ani has said. We are doing the work of the white man at this point. When we create division discourse, when we create...
Isaac, watch your language because I don't want to get the channel struck, okay? Can we?
Okay, no,
Yeah.
I'll watch my language, but at the end of the day, y'all were up here talking about African booty
No,
scratchers and shit.
no,
You
no.
know, come on now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, you coming up triggered, man. What we were doing was
Yeah.
identifying.
No, I'm
Was
not triggered.
identifying
I
things
think
amongst
I'm
ourselves.
frustrated because
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
All right, so I mean, well, look,
We're not
the whole thing is everybody comes again as a former Pan African. The very first thing that I noticed of others that I had to get the understanding of why they wasn't participating in Pan Africanism the same as Black people here in the United States, right? The reason why Africans wasn't participating in Pan Africanism, the reason why Black people wasn't participating in Pan Africanism, it seemed like a very difficult thing, was that they already came with tribal ties. That's what kept them away from each other. While over here in the United States, you don't see Senegalese, and you don't see Nigerians, and you don't see Eritreans, and you don't see Ethiopians. You don't see Kenyans. You don't see all of them kicking it at the same areas, right? It's the same. It's just the same as people from India. You got different kinds of people. I'm in Texas, and I'm in Dallas, right? You got all different kinds of people from all the world here, cuz for real. And even in their differential that they have at home, they bring that here. You don't see all kind of Indians kicking it together just because they all from the same landmass, just the same as we're Africans. So this means that tribalism tends to hold some form of essentiality. Well, we didn't have that. We were creating that for ourselves. And it seems like everybody is trying to deny us a tribal identity.
Okay. So what happens when I got to close this up, but what happens in this delineation thing when we come together, we pull back, we bring our quote unquote tribe together and say, listen, we're not kind of taking it no more. If it happened, all right, it's not going to happen anymore. Respect who we are. This is our history. You understand what I'm saying? This is who we are as a people, and we're going to move this thing forward. If reparations is due to us, then we're going to get reparations. You understand what I'm saying? If anything is due to us, that's particularly ours. You understand what I'm saying? If we decide to bring you in to the meeting after we get this together and move this thing forward, then yeah, no, we can't do it. If you're an immigrant, then you can come sit and we can have a conversation. You understand? Like, for example, my family members from different parts of the world, when they come to the family reunion, they don't cook shit. You make it bring a dish, but grandmama got to approve it because we don't know what it is.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You got to check in, like basically, like, look, this is the family reunion. Auntie so-and-so gonna bring the potato salad. So-and-so's gonna bring the chicken. So-and-so's gonna bring the vegan dish.
Yeah. And you better not bring nothing that you wasn't told to bring, and you are directly in that family lineage. So the thing is, we are beholden to strict ties with one another. How's anybody else outside of us that can participate in a connection to us in an arbitrary sense of just a social class, something that we didn't establish, right? How's it that they are exempt from any of those filters and accountabilities? That's the ill part, right? To me, I think, to answer your question, the whole afterwards, I think what we're seeing is the reason of why it might be a lot more solidified of an integral tribe as opposed to the distant connectivity, because people right now, people are out of pocket. It's not that they just disagree. It's not just that they might, you know what I'm saying, be contenders. People are out of pocket with the way that they are with us in this. And it ain't even supposed to fucking involve them from the jump. We're talking about us, and just the same as with pilgrims, that when we start doing something that is cultural centered, that recycles our productivity amongst ourselves in any given fashion, they start saying that, oh, you know, it's reverse racism, or it's hate, or it's this and that. It's like, why is it that it seems like nobody want us to be able to do anything specifically for the sake of us? It's almost like we're still slaves or whatever.
Right.
To everybody, not just these Peckerwoods, to everybody.
And I think Ibrahim Traore is giving us an example. No one's going to define who they are in their particular country, and no one's going to take their natural resources. We need to learn a lesson from Ibrahim Traore and what he's doing. Goita and Mali and some other people. You understand? I got to get off of here. Once again, I really truly appreciate both of y'all hanging out. Wrong terminology. I really appreciate y'all coming in and sharing your wisdom. See, I'm learning. Even at 64, I'm learning.
Already.
My born day is on Friday, so I'm gonna come back on. Hopefully, we can talk about this hitting the reset button and what we need to do to kind of go back over our history and learn who we are, a deeper aspect of who we are, as not only individuals but as a people. Because truly, way beyond Black American and way beyond being African, we're gods having a human experience. Plain and simple.
Facts.
Plain and simple. I love y'all to life. Respect to everyone, even the people I had to cut off and kind of ban them because y'all was just getting a little bit too much for me. But anyway, love y'all to life. It's Professor Griff, and this is On the Masses right here on Black Power Media Reloaded. Y'all take care, good brothers. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
All right, let me log out of here. Hold on. In the session.